Hello, hello, Otafest podcast listeners. This is Angelo, and I'm here with Nancy and Jay.
I'm back.
Hello.
She's alive.
I survived the migraine.
She back.
We
she
did
front.
not bury her in the woods.
She's the sides.
This time.
She's 360. No scoping. She's back.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Welcome back.
Oh. We have not one, not two, but three guests. Please welcome Erica Lindbeck, Billy Kometz, and Brendan Hunter.
Did you know that Erica Lindbeck is an LA-based actress who holds her Bachelor of Arts from UCLA's School of Theater, Film, and Television? She's well known for playing a variety of roles, including starring as Talia and Zoe in League of Legends, Kaori Miyazono in Your Lie in April. Oh, I loved that one. Ellie Ayase in Love Live School Idol Project, and Emma Skye in Ace Attorney 6. For more news, announcements, and such, find Erica on Twitter and Instagram at Erica Lindbeck.
As well, we've got Billy Kometz, who is an actor from Hershey, Pennsylvania, who now lives in the Los Angeles area. Since that time, Billy has been fortunate enough to lend his voice to many popular anime, video games, and cartoons, such as Josuke in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Ferdinand von Aegir in Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Gallo in Promare, Rui in Demon Slayer, and White Blood Cell in Cells at Work. Keep up with Billy on Twitter and Instagram at Billy Kometz.
After 20 years as a voice actor for anime, cartoons, and video games, Brendan Hunter has been in many iconic and influential products. He is perhaps best known as Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, Tenshinhan from Dragon Ball, and in Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT as Oob. While all three guests were able to share their stories and help host content during our live-streamed Otafest 2021, we are ecstatic to bring them to you in person at Otafest 2022.
And again, a quick reminder that Otafest 2022 will be a 2-day event rather than our usual 3-day event. In keeping the interests of everyone's health, we'll be requiring that all attendees have masks and we'll be checking for vaccinations.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We did not take 5 takes to get through the news.
No, absolutely not.
I'm just going to put it out there.
Absolutely not.
First try, every try.
Nailed it.
First try, second try. Every time. But that's right, everybody. We've got Erica Lindbeck, Billy Kometz, and Brendan Hunter, 3 excellent voice actors who I'm sure every single one of you has heard at least one of their performances. In fact, Erica Lindbeck is so prolific. I remember last time we announced her for the live streamed event, I was looking her up and I was like, holy cow, she is all of these characters.
She's been so many things.
She's in everything.
At once.
Oh, my lord. And it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's got range, she's got talent, she's got everything in every series that you probably like. Oh, my God.
I mentioned this last time when we were leading up to Otafest 2021 during the live stream thing. And I was like, did you guys know that Erica Lindbeck is Barbie? She's been the Barbie voice for as long as I could remember. And it was just something that was so totally outside of the anime sphere, but still had so much impact on like nostalgia and such. And it was just like, that is so cool.
Are the Barbie movies like well made?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen one.
I actually remember a little piece of trivia. A lot of those Barbie, like the 3D Barbie movies and such that were straight to video, they were made by the same studio that did Reboot.
What?
Oh, okay.
What?
Yes.
Cool.
Once
Mainframe Media?
Once they were no longer able to write their own stories, once they had to make producers happy, they started just commissioning out their work, and they did a lot of 3D Barbie movies.
Interesting.
I had no idea. I remember how in Reboot they always like baked in some unhappy jokes about censorship and like always making the board happy. And I guess
Oh, God,
that
but-
was just part of the writing. Like they were allowed to inject those subtle undertones into everything.
So for their first season of Reboot, the publisher that they were working with was really overbearing and really controlling. I don't even remember what publisher it was.
I don't remember.
And then eventually YTV kind of commissioned them for more Reboot, and they just told them, you know what? Go crazy. Go nuts. Do your thing. As an example, Enzo as a character was never meant to exist. But because the original publisher wanted a kid character for kids to relate to like self-insert as, they had to create Enzo.
Oh.
And quite frankly, even if they hate that, even if they weren't happy about Enzo existing and had to like write around Enzo's existence, Enzo's existence created the best episode of Reboot ever, which was the talent show episode.
Yeah, so the talent show
People can fight
episode
me on that one.
was 100% like about the censorship problem because part of the episode is that like Dot and an assistant who represents the board is there to approve or disapprove of acts for the talent show. And she's there constantly saying, no, Ms. Matrix, there's children in the audience. And it's like that constantly. It's like, nope, next, nope. And that was the subtle joke because that was the insert for having to appease the publisher.
But we're not supposed to be talking about Reboot. We're supposed to be talking about Erica, Billy, and Brendan. Oh my god. So yes, Erica Lindbeck is extremely good, even as the voice of Barbie.
What do you mean, even as? How dare you?
I mean,
I think you
let's
mean
be
especially
real.
as.
I'm very biased against Barbie.
Wow. The truth comes out. We're canceling Angelo.
In my day, real toys were things like Kinects and Mechanics.
I mean, okay, you got me there. It's just, I remember growing up.
What does that even mean, real toy? All toys are real toys.
If you couldn't build a toy,
stick is a real toy.
Count.
Literally, they made a Toy Story about this.
I'm
a
real
spoon,
toy
I didn't
now.
watch Toy
a
Story 3.
spork can be a real toy.
Yeah, that's right. I did catch like bits and pieces of it where it's like the spork that has like a face drawn on it and pipe cleaner
Yeah.
is like a real toy.
That's
I
the
remember
whole-
the
And
pipe
actually,
cleaner.
by my definition that I would have just made, that if it's a real toy only if you build it, the spork would have been more of a toy than Woody or Buzz.
Exactly.
I'm going to stand by that.
Okay.
That was just me, though. I liked
Yeah.
building things when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
I
We're
did
getting
too.
we're getting off track a little bit. I want to get back to our guests because we'll get off into a tangent talking about their characters very easily.
So, oh my god, Billy Kometz was Gallo and Promare and Rui and Demon Slayer. That's really cool.
Yeah. And
Not
white
gonna
and the
lie.
white
Those are
blood
two.
cell character is also pretty awesome in Cells at Work.
Yes. Like, Promare was such an experience. It was such a amazing experience. I saw it in theaters. And
It's a
being
good theater
huge Gurren
experience.
Lagann, being a huge Gurren Lagann theme fan, seeing Kamina on the big screen with a different name, I don't mind. I don't mind. It was Kamina. And he was awesome. It was great.
And he was alive.
Yes, that too.
That's nice.
That too.
It's nice
And
that
to
your
have Billy Kometz
favorite character is
tied
still
to
alive.
that memory. Yes. If only in spirit.
Mhm.
Different animation studio, different company, different everything except the animators and the character designer. Hell yeah. And Rui. Oh god, the fight between Tanjiro and Rui in Demon Slayer was such an iconic turning point for that anime. Like Demon Slayer, I enjoyed it the whole time. But when I was watching it, I was just like, yeah, this is a really good shonen series. It takes the shonen formula, implements it very well. It's Bayou-fotable, so it looks very good. But otherwise, there's nothing really to write home about. There's nothing particularly crazy. And then the fight between Tanjiro and Rui happened, episode 19, for anyone who is really into it. And that was the series, the minutes of animation that lifted Demon Slayer from like middle of the pack shonen in its season to like the top of everyone's charts within an hour or 2 hours of that episode airing. People were so blown away by the animation that it was everywhere on like Twitter, everywhere on social media, everywhere online. And damn, like that was just a part of what made Demon Slayer as big as it is now. So like to have your name attached to that kind of scene, to have attached to that kind of character, it's huge. It really is. I'm hyping up Demon Slayer like it's something crazy. It's just that it really is just a very well done shonen anime. So if you like shonen, you'll probably like Demon Slayer. If you don't like shonen, you probably won't like Demon Slayer. But goddamn, Ufotable has made a very pretty anime, and one of the best villains in the anime, Billy Kometz.
You know what else Billy does that's really cool? He plays a lot of Smash, and he welcomes people on his stream to challenge him. It's really fun to watch.
What characters does he main?
You know what? I don't remember now. I watched a whole bunch of him doing that last year during Otafest 2021. I think he likes to random.
So not only is he styling on all these fools, he's doing it on random. Oh my lord.
It's fun.
My god.
It's fun. He really gets into it.
That's one thing. Like when I like fighting games, and I guess at this point I have to admit that I lose the debate on whether Smash is a fighting game or not. When I play fighting games, I like to try. I'm not going to get into it.
Here's a simple question. What other kind of game is it supposed to be?
That's the weird thing. Like I would have argued that Smash is its own genre of game, and when you get different entries into that genre, like Sony Smash Bros, what was it, PlayStation All Stars, and the more recent Nickelodeon Brawl, what did they call it? Nickelodeon All Star Smash? I don't even know. The Nickelodeon one, the one with Powdered Toast Man. I feel like that's where it actually does become its own genre. Just as like a 2D fighter, like Street Fighter or Skullgirls, is different from 3D fighters like Soul Calibur or Tekken. Like they're very, very different feeling kind of fighting games. And for the longest time, like honestly, this has been a debate since the Melee days. Is Smash a fighting game? I was firmly on the no side of that for the longest time. But I kind of have to just give up and accept defeat on this one. That Smash is not only a fighting game, it's probably the most popular fighting game out there now.
I mean, I think it's probably been pretty popular for at least a few years, Angelo.
Just a few. In my day, there was only 12 characters, and you had to unlock 4 of them. I actually appreciate that going on random and just choosing whichever character you want kind of approach. Because when I buy a video game, I buy all the video game. I'm going to play every single one. I need to play every character from Ryu to Akuma to Dan to Sakura to El Fuerte. None of the grapplers. And that's how I like it. And so people who like just sit on one character and just main that one character, I'm not saying that's invalid. But the person who can school you on every character in the roster, that's badass.
Sure. I mean, skill is skill. Good gamer is good gamer.
You're just saying that because you're a Cammy main.
Good gamer is good gamer. I don't know what else you want me to say about that. Anyways, we're also welcoming back our local and very cordial host and voice acting talent, Brendan Hunter. Brendan's just a cool personality, honestly. He helped us out and hosted our family feud between Otafest and Animathon during our 2021 live stream event, and he's coming back to Otafest. We've had him a few times before. We've already mentioned a few of his roles, sort of classic roles, especially known as like Tien from Dragon Ball, as Oob in GT, and Oob is sort of like one of those weird but like popular characters who was like overpowered, but he's not like a Saiyan for once, and he's just a regular human technically. So I always thought that was kind of cool. Brendan has been very, very gracious every time we've invited him out. He is basically, one of the best local talents a local anime con can ask for, and he's always happy to show up, meet new fans, reconnect with old ones. And I think, as much as it's cool to sort of have, we have some big names coming in as usual, and Brendan is a big local name, and it kind of shows that, if you're aspiring to be in the voice actor space, the local voice actor space starting out, he's a great way to show how you get started, and, the kind of roles you can inhabit, and the roles that you play as a guest as well at cons and things like that, because there's a lot more to, the work than just lending your voice as a talent, and that's like your bread and butter on the regular, but like how you conduct yourself as a professional. I think just having him around is always, I think, is just such a cool thing. But I mean, I can only say so much to that aspect, I feel like, because I'm not particularly a follower of like actors in general, or any sort of celebrity status from originating from work and talent necessarily, but just from the behind the scenes as an organizer, I really respect him, and the way that he's always able to provide a lot of his color and energy to the projects he works on is very apparent, and I don't know, it's just something I've really grown to appreciate, having him in the
Brendan
community.
is entirely different level of inspiring for me whenever we get together and talk shop. I like to hang out in his courses for fun. His courses for voice acting are a lot of fun. He's just, all kinds of inspiring, all kinds of awesome. He's just a really friendly, happy dude.
I've had the luck to talk to him a little bit before and a little bit after some of his panels. And I just want to say, he's so nice, really charismatic, a wealth of knowledge. God damn, that dude knows a whole lot about a lot of different fields. And god damn, his facial hair is on point.
True.
It's true. And he's been rocking this look and refining it for years now, and I love it. One year he sent me a happy birthday video, and it was just, him being his character, and I loved it.
Brandon Hunter is just always
He's a treasure.
so nice to have at Otafest.
He's a Calgarian treasure. I love him.
Yeah. So, about those Calgarian treasures. There was, just last night, and by last night I mean just last weekend, an Asian Heritage Night Market here in Calgary, right outside of City Hall.
It was also inside City Hall.
It was also inside City Hall.
Yes.
Cool.
Tell us about it, Jay.
It was an Asian Heritage Night Market inside and outside of City Hall.
Can
It was
you tell
pretty
us
cool.
about some of the special features that were there that you wouldn't see normally?
So the number one thing that sort of popped up to me, so it was their first annual Asian Heritage Night Market. So first time they've ever done it. City Hall, if anyone's ever been there, is not exactly a large venue. Like, it's tall, but those are not public areas. Those are like work offices for public servants. And otherwise, it was just like in the main atrium area, and it's sort of like the main plaza had a few things. It was also hosted as part of Chinook Blast, which is sort of this mostly outdoors kind of festival. Well, festival is not right, but it's sort of like a arts and culture event that's usually held during like January, February to kind of bring people outside, enjoy the weather when even though it's a little bit cold, and sort of it's sort of like a Beakerhead in that regard. But anyway, so Asian Heritage Night Festival, first time they ever ran it. The number one thing that I liked a lot is that it was truly Asian heritage. And what that really means is like people don't really think of India, for example, as being Asian, but they are by pretty much any definition of like the context. I think they're considered South Asian, whereas, you know, there's Central Asia, Eastern, Western Asia, all sorts of different things. So what that really comes down to is that Asian Heritage Night Market, they had Indonesian, they had Indian, they had Korean and Japanese and Philippines and Chinese, and I'm sure there's probably some areas that I just straight up missed. There were everything from, there was like a little stage. They did a lot of sort of cultural performances, everything from like karaoke to traditional dances to like wushu performances. And considering that they only ran for like 2 evenings, I think it is technically. They ran last night, which was Friday night, and then I think they ran for more time on Saturday, but that's still like a day and a half at most. They did a lot, and they had a lot of content going, you know, considering the size of the event. As someone who, you know, runs things in a similar type of space and similar type of, you know, atmosphere, let's say, we can appreciate sort of how much work goes into it and how much content you're generating, because a lot of the time when you're a smaller event, you can sort of be left feeling a little empty. But I would say that it was full of energy. The people seemed to be into it. There were lots of different folks from lots of different backgrounds doing, you know, all sorts of booths that were available, vendor booths, and some booths weren't even really vendors. They were just sort of participation booths. At the Korean booth, I learned how to write my name in Korean. And then we also played some Didakji, which is the, like in Squid Game, it's that first game that they encounter where you have to flip a piece of square paper using another piece of folded square paper.
Fun.
I've played it before, but it was really fun. And yeah, like it's just lots of different cool experiences. I would say that they made the best of the City Hall space, and I don't mean anything bad by that, but City Hall space isn't sort of conducive to you know, for example, Otafest, we run a lot of community panels, which would be sort of the equivalent of what I was telling you about, like the Korean art space that they sort of had going on. But they made, again, the best of all the areas that they had, all the space that was available to them. And I want to, like, huge kudos to all the work that I presume a lot of volunteers were involved. And
I wish I'd known about it. This sounds like an awesome thing.
Well, I would say
to.
that Chinook Blast is a thing to check out in general, and Chinook Blast goes on to the end of February, I believe. They have lots of different events everywhere, but they're all centered through downtown. A lot of it's on like Stephen Ave and Olympic Plaza, and then yeah, and then there's also like short-term events within that like 3 to 4 week span that is Chinook Blast. So things like an Asian night market pop up now, and that's really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, I remember that there was like a Bollywood booth. There was a martial arts booth. There were like all sorts of food booths. Like in the Indonesia place had some food. I don't remember one of the other cultures that had some food. And then there was a third one that was more like, I want to say somewhere in Central Asia, sort of, or maybe it was like Sri Lankan or something like that. Anyway, there was like a lot. And again, the atrium of City Hall is not huge. It's probably on par with most like community halls in Calgary at most, really, in terms of like that usable space. But it felt really good. A lot of turnout as well. So like, gives me hope that Otafest 2022 is going to be able to run in its full glory. Considering it's indoors, and how people feel about that is up to them. But it's kind of nice to see that feel, because we otherwise we've missed things like Omatsuri, for example, right? As well. So it scratched a very, very itchy bit. Yes.
So I was looking up Chinook Blast events that are still going on, and they're having a block heater event with Chantal Kreviazuk.
Oh,
a block heater event.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while, but I respect.
I know. Right?
Okay, I need to know what a block heater event is, because I am imagining just plugging in your car right now. You go to the event to plug in your car?
Yeah. No, block heater is an
sounds like a good time. Let's get a tailgate party going.
Event created and organized by the folks at Calgary Folk Music Festival, CFMF. So block heater is just like they usually do this. I think this is the third or fourth year they've run. I think this is maybe the second time at least that they've run concurrently with and like organized with Chinook Blasts. And yeah, it's a music festival mostly focusing on Canadian folk music talent. They're at usually like Olympic Plaza and maybe one other venue, but of course pandemic's still ongoing. So I know that at the very least they're at they're at Canada Olympic Plaza, but I don't know if they have another venue. But I know that they had run at Calgary Folk Music Festival Hall, which is in Inglewood prior. But anyways, the point being is they do a thing, and you should check it out.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. In prior years, I've worked. I've worked with companies that have worked with block heaters, so I know a little bit more about it because I've seen their various installations. A lot of them, again, are very similar in a sense to like, sorry, I mentioned it earlier. I can never remember the name so easily. Beakerhead, that's the one, where there's a lot of like installations that are interactive in nature. They usually have like music and light incorporated into them, and they usually illustrate some sort of scientific Beakerhead did that, but I guess they don't always do scientific at Chinook Blast. They usually mostly do artistic in general, but still.
That's still pretty cool.
Yeah. I'd really recommend it, especially because when the weather is good, it's really nice to go out there, go grab some hot chocolate, because YYC Hot Chocolate Festival is still on right now. They also go through all of February. So like what me and my friends do is we go out, we grab some hot chocolate, we go, walk through some of these areas, because Chinook Blast is all throughout the city. It's not really just it, but it's like centered in downtown. But then, you go grab another specialty hot chocolate, go walk around for another weekend kind of thing. It's nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I really recommend.
Man, I miss
So
Hot
Jay,
Chocolate
you had
Fest.
something else going on this week too, didn't you?
I handled a lot of meat.
You handled a whole lot of meat. Oh my
We
god.
made
With your
like
hands?
Oh my god.
with these hands, I
Wow.
made me and my friend, Tracy, who is my fellow co-conspirator of the merchandise team at Otafest, and also when we did Maid Cafe and many things. We've known each other for like 15 years at this point, because we met in high school. But we're all very into food. And we like making new things, trying new things. So we made some chorizo sausage. We made some longanisa. She's made sausage before. I haven't. This is my first time. So we made we ground up some spices and porter. I did that thing where you mess up words. Mortal and pestle is what I was trying to say. But I was going to say porter and messel.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like a perfect band name.
Yes, we made like 8 or 9 pounds of meat.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of sausage.
And then we made some brisket because she has a smoker. So we made smoked sausages, smoked brisket, smoked chicken, smoked pork chops. It was good.
Meat night.
You were smoking all the goddamn stuff.
Actually, yeah, just like a pork night, huh?
No,
Pork for
well,
sausage?
the sausages were beef and pork. Then we had chicken.
Okay.
The brisket was, of course, beef.
The brisket
So there was a
beef.
variety.
It was just a meat night. That sounds great.
Yeah, there were meat sweats all around. It was pretty good, though. We did not have a side.
Devouring every animal that crossed
We
the
didn't
land.
have any sides. We didn't have vegetables or starch. We only had meat. And now that I realize that, I'm like, I'm not getting any younger. I need to eat better than that.
Oh boy.
It was a keto night.
Yeah, truly.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
Angela, you also
This week,
also did food.
earlier this week, Dio and I, we went out for a nice little ramen date, and it was very nice, very fun. We went down to Jinya. I hadn't been there before. Dio apparently had been, and we had some nice ramen. We also got some of the soda that was on the menu. There were some that we hadn't seen before. One was a white peach soda. Another one was a melon soda.
Oh, those both sound amazing.
I know, right? They were so interesting sounding. And so I got the white peach one. I tell you, this soda tasted like fuzzy peaches, like the candy. It was unreal how simultaneously sweet it was, but like it's kind of weird when you have a taste that is so close to one certain kind of food, but then it has a completely different texture.
Mm-hmm.
When it is in liquid form, it blows your mind. The melon soda was also really tasty. Dio let me have a sip of that. And it reminded me, I think it was ramune that it reminded me of.
Interesting.
But it was just really good. Really good.
Hmm.
And the other things that we had ramen there. We had some ramen. I had some reasonably spicy ramen. I realize that now. They said that they have like a spiciness scale of like 0 to 10.
They do?
And I was like, well, I haven't been here before. I don't know what the 10 is. And I really want to enjoy the meal rather than like be challenged by the meal. So I'll just go with a 7. And that was pretty damn good. Judging by their 7, I easily could have taken on the 10, no problem. But it was a very enjoyable level of spicy. The pork chashu that was in the ramen was so good. It was like a thick cut. It was juicy. It was tender. It was yes.
I wish I could go out for fresh ramen.
Jinya is great.
It was exceptionally enjoyable.
Wait, why can't you, Nancy? It feels like there's a...
It just hasn't been something that's realistically fit into my schedule in the last little bit because we're trying to space out visits because we want to be the insulating buffer with people. So if we see someone, usually we don't like see other people for like 2 or 3 days. So just given what our schedule has been like lately, just haven't had time to just go out and have a ramen date.
That's fair.
I was like, we can go out.
Nancy is the responsible human.
It was like, if there wasn't anything else, I'd be happy to go. Especially for Jinya.
Yeah.
Jinya is always
Yeah.
good.
I also had they had this little pork chashu bun, like they call it a Jinya bun.
Yeah.
But it reminded me so much of New Year's Duck, and it brought back memories, and it made me sad that I missed Duck this year.
Me too.
It had that nice fluffy bun that was almost like dim sum dough. It had It had all the right toppings, but then instead of duck, it had like a nice thick piece of juicy, tender pork chashu. And I was like, oh my god. My mouth is watering just thinking of it. That's dangerous. It's dangerous to even think about it.
I'll go for noodle soup pretty much anytime anyone asks. I will pretty much go.
All right.
If it's pho, absolutely. If we go for hand-pulled noodles, definitely. If we go for ramen, most certainly. Just ask.
Maybe I should start
Hell yeah.
like scheduling in food dates in my calendar and just be like, okay, this is the Tuesday where we go for ramen. Let's see who wants to go with us. And then
Maybe
the
we
Tuesday
should
following.
Maybe
I'll
we
choose a
should
different food.
we could record live sometime soon together.
We'll have the sweet,
then go for
soothing
dinner.
sound of like the din of a restaurant behind us.
Oh no, I meant shit. I don't know if we could do that because
I don't think we could. Our microphones would pick up everything.
yeah, the microphones would pick up
They
everything,
really would.
and like the restaurant would have to work around us, and I would feel bad about that.
Yeah.
We're nobody special. They're like, who are these idiots? And why do I have to put my ramen bowl around their recording equipment?
Yeah. I the worst thing for me is to inconvenience someone, so I try really hard not to do so.
That is fair. But yeah, anytime you want to go, just say so. We'll find a time.
We definitely need to get them noodles. We
Noodles.
definitely need to get them
Especially when
soups.
it's still nice and
Like
cold.
this.
Honestly, like I will have pho in the middle of summer. I don't mind, but like when it's winter, it is like soup mode. I would have, if I could, if it was reasonable to do so, I would have noodle soup.
I'm pretty sure that I've
every
made
day.
my feelings on like restaurant soups made known on the podcast before. I don't know what it is about ramen. Maybe it's just that I'm a weeb, but ramen is absolutely something that I'll have. But like you say, Jay, there's something special like when you have ramen, when you have that nice, spicy, hot bowl of ramen, and then you go out into the streets. It's still winter
you're
out.
full.
Maybe it's like -2, -3 out. You have a nice deep breath of cold air. It helps like cool down your mouth, your lungs, but then you exhale and you feel the smell of ramen
It's
like
true.
waft through your mask up your nose. Yes.
There's something
Feel all warm from the inside.
Yeah, it's just very
Weather appropriate.
like it's soothing. It's weather appropriate. It's right for the season. I don't know. Anyways, I'm happy I had dinner. Honestly, I had dinner before this because I'd be angry right now.
Same.
Totes.
But another thing that happened to me. So, for quite a while, for a good many years, I've personally been into pixel art quite a bit. I've been, not gonna lie, I've been dabbling in those crunchy pixels in MS Paint since high school. And over the last couple years of streaming, a lot of people have been like, hey, when are you going to start opening up commissions to get other people to get drawn by you? And I was like, I don't know, maybe later. And so the other night, Thursday night, I think it was, I just did not sleep at all. I went to bed. I went to bed the Wednesday, and it was like midnight, and 2:30 in the morning, I'm just wide awake, and I'm like, why haven't I fallen asleep yet? I'm legitimately tired. What's going on? So I just stay awake, and I'm on the computer until like 6:30 in the morning. Eventually, like I think it was like 4 in the morning, I was like, I'm gonna put together a price list. I'm going to put together a web page for this. I am going to put out there that I'm finally doing pixel art commissions and see what happens. So I did that, bleary-eyed, barely sentient. And today I finally got my first ordered commission. Hell yeah.
That's so awesome.
Congratulations.
It's a good feeling, you know?
I'm so proud of you.
It's finally making money off of the skill you've honed over half your life. Actually, after this commission, I have officially made more from pixel art than I have from game development ever.
Wow. Congrats.
I am a professional pixel artist. And that's a cool feeling. But Nancy, you were saying that you've done some commission stuff in the past too?
I have. I don't actively advertise this, even though I maybe should. I do like sound bites for people. So sometimes game developers just need we don't need spoken lines, but we need someone to sigh and make an impatient sound or, that sort of thing. So really small sound bites. Or someone's asked me to do a voicemail message for them before. Can you just do a super cute whispery kind of character, and I just want you to say that, hi, you've reached this person's phone, and if you leave a message, maybe they'll get back to you, or something like that. And yeah, voice commissions are actually a lot of fun. I don't advertise it, and maybe I really should, hearing you say that.
That's super interesting. I didn't really know that until I asked you right before recording this podcast. That's actually super cool. I never even thought of commissioning someone else for my voicemail message. I didn't think that was.
That's definitely a thing. Some cons will even sell that as a service when you're meeting the guest. If you want a voice actor,
really?
Yeah, they'll be they'll talk over that as part of their agreement with the voice actor, and then it'll be hey, you can have a 10 or 15 seconds sort of how there's that service called Cameo. It's the equivalent of that, but they're just recording something for you personally onto maybe your phone or something like that, like a quick message. So that's always a thing.
That's super
something
cool.
that I had to wonder about when we were talking earlier about our voice actor guests, and especially about sort of all the roles that they inhabit, all the variety that they inhabit, and no doubt that they take a lot of projects at the same time, while they're one day they might be recording for X anime, but then they're later in the day, if they have time, then they're doing maybe a game, or maybe tomorrow they're doing the game, but they're switching between a bunch of characters. Do you think, as somebody who I have no aspiration to be a voice actor at all, but I just have fun playing with voices sometimes, and then imitations especially, but sometimes I lose a voice. I just can't get it back that day, or I just can't get back into the character for it, or the few times I've ever done live streaming, sometimes we read out loud for a character that's in the game during a cutscene, but it turns out that there's 14 fucking characters and only 3 people doing the stream, so you end up taking 6 characters, and I'm which frickin' character was this? I wonder if this happens.
I remember
to voice actors.
I remember
pros.
when I was trying to to stream Fate Go, and reading the voice lines with different voices for the 20 characters in a single story bit. And after I think half an hour of trying to do this, I just gave up because I couldn't remember what voice I gave to each character anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, that does happen to the pros. Usually when we start a new character, if we're working for a studio and we're actually in a studio recording with a sound engineer and a director, projects that we start of that scale, usually what we do is we record something that's not a slate, but it's basically you reading the line in the character, and they play it for you each time you come in for another session to refresh you on how it should sound.
Oh, that's a good idea.
They did it for me every time I came in to Chinook Studios for a session, every time without fail. And it was always nice, but it wasn't as hard for me because I was only playing one main character and incidentals. And incidentals are throwaways because they're never coming back. So it wasn't difficult for me, but I bet Erica has several different slates and sound bites to remind herself of how to just get back into whichever role she's doing for that session.
I'm taking notes. That information is relevant to a side project that I can't really talk about, but
This information is relevant to a side job of mine. Ask me more.
Yeah. Well, rather, so I'm part of a fan dubbing project. I'm not saying exactly what project it is on the podcast, but a lot of us don't really know exactly what we're doing. No one in the project, to my understanding so far, is a professional voice actor. We've got 2 audio engineers, 1 video editor, who is also the organizer behind the project, and everyone else are just friends around the organizer. So it's like, well, some of us are reaching out to some professional voice actors that we are friends with. I know that I've asked Nancy some pro tips, a few different pro tips. There have been a couple of other voice actors on the fringe of the project that have added their own input as well. But it's just things like that you don't even think to ask at first that are just, that's a good nugget of knowledge. That's very, very useful.
Thank you. I'm glad you thought so.
Yeah.
That was an excellent question, Jay. I really appreciate that.
I mean,
Like,
it was
we
just
were-
something that I felt like it must be like a tornado of things, because inevitably, no matter how skilled you are, you're only going to be able to sort of handle somebody. It's just there is a phenomenon, I believe, especially at very high levels of like decision making, where it's like decision fatigue, essentially, where you have too many things to think about, too many fingers in too many pots, and I was like, you must maybe forget an aspect of a certain character if you're going into it, or I'm sure there's practice and all sorts of things, but I think it's funny to think that you might go into the recording booth and be like, I'm sorry, which character was this again?
When you're doing dramatically different voices for every single character, yes,
Yeah.
totally.
I can imagine that so much. Like even on the podcast here, sometimes I'll switch narration styles in my voice from one paragraph to another. Like at one point during reading the news, I was almost in Dragon Ball Z narrator mode, you know?
True.
Which
I totally
there is a
understand.
demand for, by the way.
Yeah, like that is my influences growing up, like in the 90s. Every movie trailer in the 90s was narrated. And if it was an action movie, you bet it was narrated in that kind of voice. Like that's why Dragon Ball Z was narrated that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why the next time on Dragon Ball Z, that's why it sounds like that, because that's how all like action narration at the time was done. And that's why I like to do it, because hell yeah, I grew up in the 90s and that was a hell of a good time. That was fun. I understand why narration in movie trailers is gone now. I get it.
In a time.
Sometimes I wish it would come back.
This summer. I love
Sometimes
the
I wish
tropes.
it would come
I love
back.
the tropes. I love
The
tropes in
tropes are
general.
good.
In general, I love tropes, but I love narration tropes especially. It's so easy to like imitate and
yeah.
have fun with them.
Well,
Be
like
super
monster
corny with
truck
them.
commercial narrations.
Sunday.
Or demolition derby rallies. It's
Yeah.
like, Sunday destruction.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or when they do
Yes.
pro wrestling announcers, and they're like, by God, Jim, he's dead. So that's always fun. Anyways, come visit our very awesome voice actors and all of their panels and their guest spots, and get your things signed and meet them in live, including our Nancy, who I know has a panel or 2. I think it's 2, or is it just 1?
Maybe even 3.
My God,
Oh
that's
my
too high
God.
of a number for me.
No, all good things
No,
come
I mean,
in
I
threes.
can't count that high.
Oh, you're Gabe Newell.
It's
Understandable.
true.
Oof.
I wish I sleep on that
Oof.
pile of Americano monies.
I hope Gaben's not listening. Maybe he is.
Forgive
Never
me,
know.
Gaben.
If Gaben is listening, episode 3, please.
Of anything. Even if it's like a Star Wars-esque.
I'll take Left 4 Dead 3
Even if
at
it's like a
this
Star
point.
Wars type of thing where they started with episode 4, technically, to start all the Star Wars franchise. If that's where we start, is a brand new IP, but it's number 3 of that IP, I'd be like, okay,
Spiritual
the
successors.
man knows number 3.
Spiritual successors
you're
are nice
saying-
too, I guess.
There's a
I'm down.
chance.
There's always a chance. You never know.
All right. On that note, thank you again for listening, and we will catch you next time. See you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time.